My OBS continue to freeze. It's like I wasn't even playing a game this time. I was like, what the heck? I'm not doing anything. What is causing it to blow up? It's just got cameras going. I'm not even using the monitor. It's got to be the video card. I mean, it's only been doing this. It's never done this before with the old video card. So it's something NVIDIA drivers, OBS, the NVENC, NVENC, I don't know, whatever, the NVIDIA encoder. N encoder, NENC. So yeah, I don't know. Gotta say, it's annoying as heck. So I'm putting in some ice into my my afternoon protein drink. That's because I like it. It adds bubbliness to it and mixes fine. Doesn't taste bad. But what it does do is bubble up. I gotta let it rest. Kill the bubbles. And after a little while, it takes a little while to get this to mix correctly, or to get the bubbles all down. I can fit the entire bottle in here with my base mix, but only after I've got the bubbles to diffuse enough times. Anyway, so yeah, I gotta, just bugging me, man. So I hope the OBS lasts a little while. Hey, Alexa, turn off heater. I don't know why it keeps crashing. Just bugging me. I have not figured out the magic bullet, man. So maybe I need to turn off the NVENC recorder. The thing is, it's blowing up. Not even while I'm playing game this time. So it's like, it's got to be something in the driver. Encoder. I don't know, man. What is the magic? You're like, what the heck is he doing, man? Get it? Yeah, I understand that. I'm watching the bubbles move up, but I notice if I move it around in the bottle, they pop faster. And the faster they pop, the sooner I can pour the rest of this in there and not have to mess with it anymore. There you go. Now I can do one last little drink, mix it up a little bit just to get things mixed in. Then I can drink it. Muy bueno. All right. So, after my computer crashed, my OBS crashed. I said, screw it. My back needed to rest anyway, so I just lay on the floor for a while. You know what? I missed a strap. I did not do the strap that goes over his shoulder. So I guess I'm doing that. You know, the one that's holding this thing on his arm? I don't think I did either one of them. No, curious. There's no one out there chat to, so I can't really pose a question. But what I was gonna say is, if you're playing Diablo next week, what is your what's your planned class? I know a lot of people really like Wizard because apparently they're OP. I don't know. I like sorcerers too. I like magic too, but I liked the druid a lot back when it was part of the game originally. I don't know if it was a Diablo. I think it was Diablo 2, and it was one of my favorites. And they never really gave you the druid in the in Diablo 3, in spite of the multiple upgrades, and they gave you a lot of the other guys back, but they never gave you the druid. I think the druid's probably a pain, right? I mean, it probably takes a little bit to program the druid. And even in Diablo 2, when it existed, I think it wasn't part of the native build. I think in Diablo 2, it was an expansion that gave you the druid. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it was. Because I was I forgot what I did early on, Sork. But yeah. Problem with giving a character in an expansion is everybody wants to be it, so it's not even unique. Everybody's like, oh, cool, I'm getting the expansion so I can be that character. So everybody's that character for a while. And then they go, go back to my other guy. Just use the benefits of the expansion. The other stuff, you know, new skills, new abilities, new features of the game that come with it. No, I can't even have people tell me when my thing crashes, because I look at the chat, but I don't always look at the screen itself. So if it crashes, I'll be doing this probably for half an hour before I realize that it crashed. Now I know though, so I'll probably be looking at it more, but I still might have to use some shading though. I'm still not totally sure. I mean, it is providing a little contrastiness, and I'm seeing light lines on top and darker a little bit below. And I can see a little, pretty decent popping out. Though I'm not totally convinced that it's enough contrast for me, but it does look better than it did. I mean, it's definitely more than the brown that I had underneath it. But we will see. But I do like it. I may have to use a brown wash or something just to kind of get those lines to pop a little bit more, or maybe even use a darker brown, one of these shades, and then I can just put it over those areas, and it'd probably be better. Or even maybe a darker, like a mild brown, like this, which is, it's still a shade. Oh, not a mid brown. And see if that would do it. But I just want to get in the cracks, make it be a little bit more darker in those crack areas, in the seams. So says me. But mind you, I am not a professional. There are good painters out there. I'm an adequate painter. I keep it in the lines, but I am not an expert by any means. Okay, so I am saying right now, Wasteland Brown. I like it. I like it for what it is. It's basically intense brown. One of the things I do like though, things like Wasteland Brown. What is Wasteland Brown? Is that dark? Is it light? I mean, you don't know. I mean, and plus the container's not going to tell you squat because it's always going to come out of there a lot darker. But like if you look at Holy White, what the heck is Holy White? It's basically gray. That's what this is. It's gray with highlights that kind of pop every now and then. You do see a little bit of white sitting on top. It is nice, but one of the things it'll do is, do they have it on these ones? Oh, maybe not on the 1.0s. The 2.0 speed paints, they put like a thing on the bottom and tells you what color is it. It's like they'll have these fancy words, but ultimately, you know, weird names like Pallid Bone, and this one doesn't do it. Yeah, it must be the 2.0 paints, but it'll say like light brown, something like that. It'll say, or you know, something a little bit more in English. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, you want the English? Oh, well, in English, that's light brown. Because this one means squat. You have to buy the paint, put it on your thing, and go, oh, that's what that is. I love what some guy did. He got a lot of like the little like Warhammer heads of a bunch of characters, just a bunch of the same ones. And he just washes them and glues them to the top of his bottles. And I thought, that is a cool idea. I really like that. Some people will prime the tip of their bottles. I didn't prime them. I did it on some paints, but a lot of it's wearing off because I didn't prime the tips. But if you prime the tips of your bottle, and then I don't have any, put the paint on them, you got to prime them all the same, like prime them all white, or prime them all gray, or prime them all whatever you're going to prime them, and then paint them. With the color of the paint. This way, you get a good look at what the paint is supposed to look like. See, like this primer here is going to take like a month to shake it up. And it is a good idea. I've seen people do it, and it's brilliant, right? Because you can look at a paint and go, what is that? And like, oh, that's what that is. But if you don't put it on something, and you don't remember what color you put it on, which is also the thing. It's like, oh yeah, I painted a figure with it. It's awesome. Which one? I don't remember. It was one of those that I put brown on. I don't know. So, yeah, this thing is spectacular shaking bottles. It does the trick, but I mean, granted, if the paint is dry or whatever, it's still going to take a while to get it shaken up. I wanted to use this one because it's a light gray. I have a darker gray primer, but I don't know if I want a dark gray primer. I want a light gray primer. And it has to be something I can, easily brush on because I don't want to paint the entire lid, so I don't want to spray paint them all. But yeah, it's kind of moving sideways now, which I kind of like. A little forward, back angle. I can see the way the head is moving. That tells me that it's moving pretty good. I probably should put a shaker in here. I don't know if faster is better. Does that really shake it up good? I don't know. Of course, ultimately it comes down to how I mean, if it's too dry, there's no water in there anymore. It's not going to make any difference how you hold the paint. You usually can't let go, but with this little tiny bottle, I guess you can. You can also hear the water moving in there. So it's most definitely got liquid, which is good. I don't know if moving faster is better either. I mean, is it? I mean, if the thing shakes too fast, will anything move? Like it shakes so fast, the water just stops in place and just vibrates. Does that do anything? What's better? I can't tell if this actually got looser. Needs a, probably need a shaker bottle, or what do you call it, a shaker ball in there. I do have some. You know, one thing I've never done is run out of a bottle of paint. Somebody said when you use these up, don't throw away. When you use up the new paints from Speed Paint, they actually put shaker balls in them. They say, hey, here's a little tip: when you run out of paint, don't throw away that shaker ball. Use it. And I'm like, good idea. When the day comes, I actually run out of paint, because I've never ever run out of a bottle. I've never spilled one to the point where it emptied. I've never, just never actually run out of paint. Now this bottle might actually be the first. It's pretty thin. I don't even know I use this though. I'm going to try one more time with the shaker. See if that shaker ball breaks it up a little bit more. Provides a little bit more violence in there. See, I think what part of it is, I think it gets into a spinny state where it's actually spinning. I don't think it's not the bottle, not that the ball's not moving. It's just not moving in a straight line. It's not moving violently and they're back and forth, smacking the walls. It's spinning, I think. See, now you can hear it. It's like smacking the walls. And when it's smacking the walls, that means it's actually helping. I think it means it's knocking some of that dry paint off and helping it to reconstitute itself better. I could be wrong. I could be that I don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but either way, the shaker ball's more violent, and it helps loosen up the paint, shake the paint better. But the reason I keep my hand here is on the off ball that my little rubber band there lets go, and it loses the bottle, and I don't want it to go flying across the room. Now, I don't know how, when it's moving this fast, does gravity get a play? In other words, like, I turn it this way, will gravity move it around more? Alright, well, close enough. It could just be totally dried out. I mean, obviously hearing the ball move doesn't mean squat. It could very well just be dried out. But if it is, maybe it's time to keep my shaker ball, even though it's the one I put in there. It didn't come with one. It does look like it's in there though. Yep, it's definitely got some paint. Alright. Alright, I am doing this. This is not even a part of, painting. But this is me trying to follow up on an idea. Where it is. There it is. They say, I think I heard someone say it's better to let, when you wash your brushes with the soap, let them dry with the soap. The soap will kind of hold them in form, so that when you go to use it, it'll be nice and shaped. But it also dries a little hard, so you gotta rinse off the soap before you start. So now the trick is I gotta put this stuff on tips of my bottles. Now I don't know, I'm not painting all of them, but get some of them so that the a decent amount. I don't know what it takes, what the right amount of primer is on a bottle. But at least they'll all be gray, so I should get a similar response. You know, so if I put two browns on, and one's on black and one's on white, I won't know if the two browns, one's lighter, one's darker, if that's because of the primer or because one's lighter, one's darker. What if you put a dark primer or dark paint on a light primer and a light paint, especially contrast paints and inks and stuff, if they're not on a consistent primer, they do tend to be a little transparent. So as a result, they're going to let that color shine through. So whatever you're using, you may be I bought a lot of these. Got me some browns, greens, reds, colors that I feel like I've needed more of anyway. I just wanted to get a few of them. What happens when you just paint something with a shade but nothing else? Are shades like a color? I mean, they are, but I mean, is it something you would actually paint with? Usually wood and tones. They're usually just going to be a highlight, but I guess you can see what they're going to add if you just paint something. I feel like a shade or a, what do you call it? I guess it is a shade. I'll tell you though, when you start painting, it's quite the thing. There's a lot of learning going on. I'm not talking about just painting, learning about the different paints, the different brushes, the different effects of different types of paints, what are inks, what are... Like, there's paints that are transparent paints, which to me I think are basically just inks. Vallejo's got some paints that are transparent. It's like this is a game ink, right? So these are inks, but they also have, like I have a transparent blue. Which kind of think of it is not actually Vallejo. Transparent blue I think I have is Reaper. So maybe the transparent ones are the Reaper version of inks. I don't know. Because I don't think Reaper has inks. Actually, Reaper's the only one I think that hasn't come out with contrast paint. Well, I won't say the only one. Let's call it the only major. Well, that's not true. I don't know if P3 has either. Privateer Press, they have the set of paints that are supposedly pretty well known as well. I don't know how good they are. You know, I'm not going to do all these paints. I have too many paints. But I'm going to do some of these contrast paint tops just so that I know in the future when I go, oh, this still has the gray, when I use it, I'll just paint the top too while I'm at it. Plus it'll give me an idea what I'm about to put on what I'm about to try with my minis. Probably should do something like this with my technical paints too. I'm sometimes looking at them going, what does that do? It's like, I forgot. You can do videos. A lot of the technical paints, you can go look on YouTube. And there'll be somebody who's done some kind of a sample of that technical paint. Almost all of them. You know, for one, they're Games Workshop, most of them. They're technical paints. But Other people. Vallejo makes some too. Vallejo makes some really good water ones, water effects. I'm just doing the ones that are in front of me. I have containers full of them, but I'm not going to pull those out. If they're in front of me, it means I either want to use them or I have used them. They usually end up back in the container shortly. You know, usually by Thursday, I'm pretty close to putting a lot of them back. And I say Thursday because that's D&D night, and I like to kind of clean up before. Oops, that was already done. I should have just put it over there with those. The silver/gray tops tend to get tend to already look. You don't always notice that they're already primed. I don't. I don't even know why I would do Nuln Oil. I know what Nuln Oil is. Everybody knows what Nuln Oil is. That's the one everybody posts pictures on the miniature sites of, oh, I spilled my Nuln Oil. It's like, put it in a dropper bottle. And it'll stop spilling it. And everybody's like, I don't do dropper bottles. Well, that's why I spilled it, so stop complaining. I do dropper bottles. I don't like Games Workshop paints in the droppers or in the. I do buy them. Don't get me wrong, and I have a few that are still. Well, maybe I don't. I thought I had a few contrast paints. I moved them all over to. I must have moved them all over to dropper bottles already. I do move almost all my regular paints from Games Workshop. All of my. What do I call them? They're not Games Workshop, but they're War Painter or something like that. Well, I guess it is Games Workshop. I don't know. I get my Army Painter and Games Workshop paints. Citadel. I think they're Citadel. That's what they are. Citadel and Army Painter. I get them mixed up. Citadel is Games Workshop's paints. All right. So all my new paints. I don't have to color my medium. Why would I do my medium? Did I even have I bought this. This is not a ink, but it's another version of Vallejo, and it's an ink. It's a white ink. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But I said, oh, I gotta try that because I'm not a fan of Vallejo's regular white, the white I have, because well, it's terrible. That's why it's so thick, and no matter how I thin it out, how much I thin it out, it always seems to leave streaks. And I haven't found a white I really like. Most of them, I'm like, it's not right. It's not what I'm looking for. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for, but it hasn't been what I found. Some of them have been all right. I mean, I've painted white okay, and I've made Vallejo's white work. You know, getting the right consistency, but it's not. It's just not my favorite. I like the idea of an ink. I think an ink might be a good solution, so we'll find out. We shall see. And then I have these. These are cool. These are color shifters. And although they're selective use, I say selective use is they're cool paints. They're metallic paints. They're metallic paints that aren't like your classic silvers, golds, bronzes. They are actually like, they're almost like a contrast paint. It's like when the light hits them in certain ways, they change colors. That's why they're called color shifters. And they're pretty cool. But they're metallic, so you got to figure out, well, what am I going to put this on? So you can put it on armors, right? And you wouldn't necessarily, or a character that's going to be like a flamboyant, maybe a dress on a character, or something that would look, you know, you want it to have that sparkly look. And so I think that's, you know, those are, so they have limited use, but very, very specific uses, but I think it'll be fun to use them. I've tried a couple of them. There's some that are closer to a silver, like I like if you want to have like a female or an effeminate character that likes her pinks and purples or whatever, or likes their pinks or purples or whatever, and you can like give them some interesting colored armors. You can still do that with others, like you can mix colors into silver and colors into gold, and but the color shifting makes it kind of gives it an extra something something. Yeah. That's mostly it. Mostly it. I got 2 ghostly mosses. I probably don't need to do this for both of them. But the only reason I have 2 ghostly mosses is not because it's my favorite or anything, but because it's I got it at a convention. It was one of their trial ones they were giving away. Oh, so much for my primer. I'm running out. Anybody else out here? Only of those in front of me? Oh yeah, I got some color shifters over here. Alright. Here's my, I got 2 color shifters left and I don't have enough primer for them. Should I paint my primer's lid? I can tell. It looks pretty much like exactly what's in the bottle, so I probably don't need to do this. But and do I even need to paint over it? Give it a second coat? Probably not. It's gray. Oh, look, it's gray on top too. It was cool because I heard that Vallejo, a lot of their, I mean, I had looked around for the new express paints from Vallejo, and a lot of places I looked, they were sold out. And I was like, oh, bummer. And then I went to go get some speed paints, the War Army Painter ones, and at my local FLGS, and they go, by the way, we have the Vallejo ones if you're interested. And I'm like, oh, do you have the speed paints by chance? I know a lot of people are, oh, he goes, yeah, we got those, check them out. I went, oh, cool. So yeah, I had to pick me up some of these. I don't have very many, I got a few bottles. It's like, it's a slow purchase, right? I mean, I can't just buy all the paints. They're not that expensive. That's one of the nice things about Vallejo. They're good paints and they're not terribly expensive. A few dollars a bottle. Unlike Citadel. Oh god, their bottles are like $5-6 or $4-5-6. I don't know. Especially the technical paints. Really expensive. Alright, so everything that's in front of me is now painted. So or has a lid prepared for paint. And I can now add my colors to them and know what they look like when I open them. Now, I'm putting a little extra on, like some of these blues and black lids are more, going to be more prone to discolor the color. Now, granted, you know, they're going to look darker or different, you know, if you put them on you know, light on a white and dark on a black, but they are in the meantime going to look. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to color some of these lids. A lot of the black shows through. So. If you want to get a good idea of what the color is, you got to make sure that your alt color, the color that is not the gray, is not showing through, so it doesn't affect your sample. Since I have the now, I don't know if I should even need to repaint the gray ones. Oh no, the gray is going to show through my gray. What's going to happen? Oh, it's going to look like gray. Black ones are the ones you really got to watch. Those ones are going to really change the color. So I've been doing, my workouts have been the AR7 format, I call it. I don't know. AR7 is you take 4 or 5 exercises and you basically do them super fast. But you're doing them with weights. So it's not just light weights. Like some HIIT workouts will be like really lightweight, you know, 5s and 10s, and you're just, you know, and you're just doing large. You still do 10, 15, 20 reps, but you're doing them fast with short breaks. This is like this is like a strength version of that, where strength workouts are oftentimes heavier weights, and heavier weights in, you know, with longer rests. Well, this is a strength version of HIIT, so you don't get the longer rests that come with it, but you're doing kind of the idea. You're doing a ton of reps, but you're doing in small, bite-sized chunks. And what that does is it makes sure that you're, what is this? It's mostly what that is, but it just peeled off because there was no primer under it. But yeah, it's actually really cool. I mean, I really like these workouts. Jeez. They're intense. They wear me the heck out, though. I am trashed after those, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna need some serious break time here. Now I've got a pretty good cardio stamina, so I recover pretty well because I'm used to running long distances and stuff. But I still feel. Still feel pretty, all right. I think I got all the important, oh wait, oh no, that's a medium. Don't need to worry about that one. Yep, I think I'm good. I don't see a whole lot here. It's gonna need anything else. Let's get a solid layer. Make sure whatever I paint it will be ready for your new layer of paint on it, and yeah. Got a couple over here. Right next to me. All right, no more of that. No more of that nonsense. Now, when that dries, I can actually paint them. Or whenever I grab one of these that have primer on them, I can just paint their lids. Now the white ones, I mean, or some of these are so light, I may have to put another layer of primer on them. But this guy's already primed. So let's go ahead and drop some paint on him. Same thing. I'm going to try and let's go with the holy white on his body. I like the holy white because it's kind of, like I said, it's almost like a gray with highlights. Very light gray. And if I want to add something to it, I was actually thinking of maybe adding in a little bit of blue or light gray to it to get that effect, but yeah, make it a little bit more gray. Where's my holy white? I just had it. Oh, there it is. It's hiding in the corner. Now, the problem with shaking these bottles up with my shaker is when they don't have a neck. So I have to like hold it in. See, I still have the problem where it doesn't look. See how it's gray, dark on top and light on bottom? So I got to shake these up pretty good. Kind of bugs me, really. Gravity will make it hit the bottom a little bit more and get some of that junk off the bottom. I like this color, at least the way it came out on one of my, yeah, it's coming off. See, it's coming off. But I painted it on a herringon, you know, rabbit folk. Painted it on a herringon, and it actually came out kind of cool. I think I have him over here somewhere. I mean, I definitely have him over here somewhere. Trying to get that metal shaker ball to hit the bottom, get some of that settlement off the bottom of the bottle, because it's definitely got a lot of gunk on the bottom. And pushing in, this one, like I said, doesn't have a neck, so the rubber band doesn't get stuck on the bottle. So I have to really mess with it. See, it's still got. It's still not quite right, but it's really hard to get that shaking up right. So I'm doing a back and forth here to try to see if that metal ball can get more of the paint off the bottom. Oops. While I do that, let's drink up here. Yeah, I meant to do that. It's closer. You know, you see not quite as much white on the bottom. Still a little bit, but you can see how it's starting to become brown. But it really settles. And some of them, they probably all do that. Now, this is a 1.0 paint, mind you. So, what does that mean, you say? Apparently, they reactivate, which can be problematic, but also good for blending. Like if you want your paints, whatever colors you put over the top to kind of blend. And in this case, I kind of do. So, kind of works for me. So see how it's a very gray paint when you put it down? Now I got to do his whole body, so this is going to be quite a bit of paint. And I'm going to do a lot of sloppy painting here because it's his entire body. And I want it would be when he does like his Dragonborn self. It's going to be similar in color to his other Dragonborn self. I mean, I kind of want him to be the same guy, right? So when he does it, picks his colors. He's not going to keep changing colors, changing his overall appearance. So like even his clothes, I want him to be similar. Like I'll pick similar color styles. I won't say identical. I mean, obviously he's wearing different things. He's got different things on him, so I might change it up a bit. But overall, like he doesn't have as many scales. I've noticed how with this guy, he's kind of a lot less scaly. But this is a, what do you call it, one of those Hero Forge minis? They don't do like really super, I don't think their detail is all that great, to be honest. They're okay, they're well printed. They're just not a lot of, they're not a very detail thing. They do a good job, but they're pretty smooth. You don't see a lot of scales and skins on characters that might otherwise have them. So, I mean, which is fine. But if you want more detail, you kind of have to go to someone else. It's like he's got a couple of little spots that I guess could be interpreted as scales. But I don't think even then. He's got like, I mean, you're basically picking his muscle tone, right? So you can't even say, hey, this is his skin. It's weird. You can't even tell. That's supposed to be armor on him? No. I don't remember putting armor on. This is one of those characters you design yourself. So, where you like pick all your stuff, and I didn't really put armor on him. Any armor I didn't have to. Got a very basic armor set. This is not primer. This is holy white. What do you call it? Speed paint. He does have pants. See, his legs are very smooth. They don't really have a ton of detail. It's a cool fig, but they just don't do skin detail. It's got hooves, which I probably don't need to be painting this color because they're not going to be this color. In this case, it'll be a base, I guess. Hey, look, OBS is still running. I haven't crashed out and froze. But yes, when you see these frozen streams of mine, you're looking, what the heck? What just happened? You'll be like, that's the OBS. It's not my game. It's not me. I'm not doing, nothing has gone wrong other than with OBS. OBS just blows up. And it does it even when I'm not gaming, so I can't like say, oh, it's the game, you know? I mean, in fact, it blew up today. The last time I played Marvel, it's like I was able to play it earlier. It didn't blow up, but now this guy, I thought he had horns. Oh, he does have horns. Oh, I'm painting them. Oops. My bad. Guess I have to put paint on this one now. This way when I go paint it the correct color, my horn color, it doesn't have a weird, like, the gray doesn't shine through differently. Probably should have done the Zenithal thing. Just primed him again, basically. He's got this black primer all over him, but if I wanted the effect, of Zenithal highlights. I should have done it. You do have to put a couple layers on, and you don't want to overdo it with this stuff. Like I said, it will activate, so you kind of have to be careful. But at least for the first couple layers, I'll let it dry a little and then put more on. And this is one character I got to be careful. I do not want to drop him. He's very, very fragile. I already broke his sword once. And I didn't even do anything. I was just transporting him, but I put him too close to an earth magnet, and he got sucked into the magnet, and then he was no longer in the upright position, and something that was moving around in there came right into his sword and broke it. I didn't even notice it at first, and I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with his sword? And luckily it was still in the case. But that is the thing about transporting stuff that's not supposed to be bumped with things that aren't being securely stabilized. If I had put other stuff in there that was not moving, it would have been fine, but I didn't. Put it in there with paint bottles and other nonsense that don't pin down. They just move. At one point I was putting flex iron on the bottom of the paint bottles, but it didn't quite hold. It's like, that's not worth it. That makes them stay in place, but they're too top heavy, and I didn't want to waste all the iron it needed. All the flex iron necessary to put on the bottom of all the paint bottles. I have too many paint bottles. Yeah, so that's not something I want to maintain. Don't start a... It's like those videos online where somebody goes, hey, you can do this if you do this video. And the video takes like 20 minutes, which ran at high speed. So obviously it took the guy like 15 hours to pull it off. And he just had it running at super high speed. And it ran for 20 some minutes just to watch the whole thing sort of work when it was all done. And you're like, why would anybody do that? Why? What would motivate a person to spend an entire day doing that? Like, who cares? Don't get your car locked down because you didn't pay your fines. You can do all these millions of things and slowly, eventually break in, but but you ended up using something to force it open anyway. I don't understand how that ever became a thing. Yeah, it was pretty stupid. You'd have to know what I'm talking about. You'd have to see it to understand, and I couldn't even explain it. It was some guy trying to remove a boot from his card. It was just the stupidest thing. It's like, why do I watch this stuff? Which I don't. I typically see those and go, okay, I'm turning this off. But this one, I said, what? And after 20 minutes of seeing all the nonsense he was going through, I didn't watch the whole thing slow. I did like he runs it in full, high speed, and I see it's 20 minutes. I take it to like the 18th minute and look at all the crap he sprayed all over his car, and it's like, who in their right mind is going to do this? I don't get it. Nobody with a lick of sense is going to do this, my friend. But they got people to watch, right? So they get their video seen, and that gets them to be... People do these things because people watch for some bizarre reason. They're not showing you a cool trick. They're showing you a stupid trick. Watch this stupid trick to get into your car with a boot on it. It's like, or pay your ticket and they'll remove it for you and probably take you half the amount of time to get it done. They'll use a key. Watch this cool trick. Pay the ticket. Get it unlocked. Woohoo, you're free to go. That guy over there, he's still trying to break in. They probably say, look, dude, if you can get into it with all that crap, you can get out. It's all right. He spent all day, spent half his life trying to throw things at this that would break into it. And he still had to pry it open partially. It's just the dumbest thing. I don't know if any of the stuff he threw on there even did anything. I don't know. Maybe sort of kind of stupid people doing stupid stuff. Our back is melting down again. It's like, okay. Round 2 break coming up. Alright, that's enough of that one. Let's switch over to my actual smaller brush, because this is too big for what I'm trying to do right now. I'm really not trying to get this on stuff that doesn't really need it. Now, granted, this stuff will reactivate, as they say, but I don't know how well it'll reactivate, like, the next time I do it. It will dry, so I don't know if it's, like, worth the effort later. So, I don't know how fast it'll dry, or how much it'll dry, and how when they say reactivate, do they mean like immediately, or do they mean like, will it reactivate tomorrow when I'm working on it? Ow, 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 ow. My tail is in the way. But if it's not in the way, I can't get to it because I can't see it. So hey, any D&D, or not D&D, like D&D DMs out there? Got a question. Oh, probably not. Or if there is, they're not watching me, so why would they? Unless they're D&D DMs that like to paint. So yeah, never mind. I won't pose that question. When I get more people watching one of these days, I'll pose more questions. So I was going to ask about how to blend a particular couple of scenarios I'm running at people in my DM group, at my D&D group. But I'm blending 2 of them, and I need to figure out a way to make them blend more seamlessly, more obviously. Besides just being 2 things that are going on at the same time, I want them to have like a little bit of overlap in there, what's going on kind of thing. Oops, let's see. It's reactivating. Stop it. Fine. Don't repaint it while it's still really wet. Alright, well, he's getting there. I gotta do a lot more. I have to get another layer on there. I don't think he's quite where I want him to be. So I want it to be a little lighter, but it's better than it was. I may end up ultimately having to do is actually mixing in some other colors. I mean, I will. I mean, ultimately, I will probably put some gray and some actual paint, some not speed paint in here. I might even try to use some of Vallejo's ink on here. I should probably provide some white ink over it. Might give it the lightning effect I want. We'll see. Any luck? So, you know, this is the guy this guy's going to be, right? So you can see they both got decent detail on the face. This guy's a little bit bigger because he's my ultra form, which works out pretty well. But he's got the smaller belly, big chest. More detail on this guy by far, but not too bad. But this is my ultiform dude, and he's going to be cool. I promise. Well, at least I hope he is. He'll be cool enough. He'll be definitely table ready cool. Anyway, I gotta take a break again because my back is wonking out on me, so I'm gonna take a stop. Got a couple hours in me at most on these things sometimes. What time is it? 10 to 6. That works. I'll plug in my glasses, get them nice and charged for my next session. Maybe I'll even paint later. My wife usually goes to bed a little bit earlier, so if I can think of it, I'll come back later and probably throw in another round. Them noodles. Alright. Round 2 of painting done. Back gonna get another break. I still haven't done another Frosthaven session. I know, I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I don't know when. Maybe if I can get it set up, I could do it during the week. It's just, it takes so long to set up a session. I'm typically committing to about a 3-hour session, even if I get it set up quickly. At least. 4 hours is probably more realistic, so I got to be willing to dedicate a 4-hour day. And I just haven't been able to get myself started on time to do that. But anyway, thanks for checking this out. Let me know what you think. I'm obviously not professional at this, but I am hoping that I'm at least conversationally entertaining. No, maybe, kind of. At least I'm not all quiet like some people who just sit there and don't say anything unless somebody talks to them. I'm surprised that some people have so many thousands of followers, and I watch them and I'm like, they don't even talk. What are they doing? How do they get so many people to watch? Anyway, till next time, take it easy.